simultaneously different and non-different from him. The material energy is non-different from this Supreme Lord. But at the same time, because that energy is acting in a different way, it is different from him. Similarly, the individual living entity is one with the different from the Supreme Lord. This simultaneously one and different philosophy is the perfect conclusion of the Bhagavata school, as confirmed here by Kapila Deva. Living entities are compared to the sparks of a fire, as stated in the previous verse. Fire, flame, smoke, and firewood are combined together. Here, the living entity, the material elements, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are combined together. The exact position of the living entities is just like that of a spark of a fire. They are part and parcel. They are part and parcel. The material energy is compared to the smoke. The fire is also part and parcel of Supreme Lord. In the Vishnu Purana, it is said that whatever we can see or experience, either in the material or spiritual world, it is an expansion of the different energies of the Supreme Lord. As fire distributes its light and heat from the place, the Supreme Personality of Godhead distributes his different energies all over the creation. The four principles of the Vaishnava philosophic doctrine and are Shuddha Advaita, purified oneness, Dvaita Advaita, simultaneous oneness and difference, Vishishta Advaita and Dvaita. All four principles of Vaishnava philosophy are based on the thesis of Srimad Bhagavatam explained in these two verses. Hare Krishna devotees, please welcome to Bhagavatam class. So let me read the translation again. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Parabrahma, is the seer who is different from the Jiva or individual living entity who is combined with the senses, the five elements of consciousness. Oh, sorry. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay. So when I read this translation, there are actually three entities. You can see three entities. Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Supreme Lord is one entity, and he is different from Jiva, the living entity. So Jiva is the second entity, and the third one is living entity who is individual living entity who is combined with the senses, the five elements of consciousness. So Lord's external energy is the another entity. So you can see three things, three entities here. One is Supreme Lord, other one is Jiva, and third one is Lord's external energy. You can call it as Maya. Okay. So Prabhupada, he starts with saying a clear conception of the complete whole is given here, meaning only one who is completely self-realized, he can see these three things properly, right? So what does it mean to be self-realized? That is the question. So Prabhupada, in some place, he says that suppose say I am in darkness, I cannot see three things. I cannot see myself, I cannot see others, and I cannot see the sun. But when I'm in light, I can see myself, I can see others, and I can also see the source of light, who is sun, right? So similarly, in the darkness of ignorance, the living entity cannot understand who am I. So when we are in that ignorance, when we are in darkness, we usually identify ourselves with the body. So that is the first misconception. The second misconception can be, sometime we identify ourselves with the Supreme. That is this second misconception. Usually when living entity has this misconception, basically we cannot be called self-realized selves, right? So what this verse is saying that when we have fully self-realized knowledge, then we can see these three distinct things. So I was just when I was studying, I also correlated with a few couple of verses in Canto 1, Chapter 3. Vyasadeva also says the same thing. Let me go through that. I think it is fourth verse. Okay. Bhakti yogena manasi samyak pranayate amale apasya purusha purnam mayam chatada apashrayam. Bhakti yogena manasi means Vyasadeva basically, he engaged his mind in Bhakti Yoga, linking with Krishna. Samyak Pranayatya means his mind was completely focused and free from material contamination. So when he actually connected with Krishna in Bhakti Yoga, he saw Apashyat. After seeing him, Purusha Purnam, after seeing him, he basically saw one more thing. What is that? Maya. He also saw Maya. Mayam cha tadapasya means, he had complete control over the Maya. So basically, this verse is saying that when Vasudeva sees Krishna, basically when he was in Bhakti Yoga, when he was concentrating on the Supreme Lord, he saw Supreme Lord and his Maya. And in the next verse, it says, Yaya sammohita jiva atmanam trigunatmakam paropi manutenartham tatkritam chabipatyate. So he also sees jiva. Okay, but he says sammohita jiva, meaning jiva, all living entities are illusioned because of because of three modes of material nature. Even though the living entity is paro means transcendental, manute anartham. Basically, it thinks that it is some product of material energy. Right? So, by these two verses, we can correlate with today's verse. Vyasadeva also saw three things, right? The Supreme Personality, living entities, and material energy. In today's verse also, it's saying that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Parabrahman, is the seer. He is different from the Jiva, soul, the individual living entity, who is combined with the senses, the five elements of consciousness. All right. There is one more thing that I want to say here, which is not related to today's verse, but next verse is very nice. Anartho upashamam sakshat bhakti yogena adlokshaje. But this anartha can be upashamanam. It can be mitigated immediately by bhakti yoga. So that is what so that's why next line he says lokasya ajanato. Basically, people don't know about it, how to mitigate this miseries, material miseries. That's why Vidwan Vyasadeva, he gave Brahma Samhita. Sattvatam Samhitam. The Sattvatam Samhitam means this Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why he is Bhagavatam. So, so people who identify themselves with the body and people who identify themselves with the Supreme, they are not called self-realized. So we need to remove these misconceptions. That's why, Vaishnava philosophy is trying to give clear understanding on these three elements. That's why in the last paragraph, Prabhupada says the four principles of Vaishnava philosophic doctrines are Shuddha Advaita, Dvaita Advaita, and Vishishta Advaita, and Dvaita. All four principles of Vaishnava philosophy are based on the thesis of Srimad Bhagavatam, explained in these two verses. So Vaishnava philosophy actually emerged gradually, one after another, based on the circumstances and time. Vyasadeva, he actually compiled this Bhagavatam 5,000 years back. About, about 2,500 years later, Buddha appeared. I'm not sure entirely what happened in the time, but by the time Buddha appeared, Dharma had really declined. People had mostly become atheist. Everyone had become so sinful. The worst part is that they were justifying their sinful action by misusing the scriptures. So actually, there is one purport. I just want to read that. Here Prabhupada says, Lord Buddha, a powerful incarnation of personality of Godhead, appeared in the province of Gaya as the son of Anjana. He preached his own conception of non-violence and deprecated even the animal sacrifice sanctioned in Vedas. At the time when Lord Buddha appeared, the people in general were atheistic and preferred animal flesh to anything else. On the plea of Vedic sacrifice, every place was practically turned into a slaughterhouse, and animal killing was indulged in unrestrictedly. Right? So Lord Buddha preached non-violence, taking pity on the poor animals. He preached and he did not believe in tenets of Vedas and stressed the adverse psychological effects incurred by the animal killing. So his task was to stop animal killing and liberate people from suffering and guide them towards righteousness through ethical living. So he taught that you cannot attain spiritual life unless you become sinless. So that's why he emphasized ahimsa paramo dharma. But ahimsa paramo dharma means non-violence is the highest principle of dharma. But actually, Bhagavatam says savai pumcham paro dharma eto bhakti radoksaja. So according to Bhagavatam, paro dharma, ultimate dharma is bhakti radoksaja, doing bhakti on adoksaja, right? But Buddha, he substandardized it. He said ahimsa paramo dharma, meaning ahimsa is the param dharma. This is based on the time and circumstances. Um, uh, so ahimsa is for him, ahimsa is the foundation of real dharma. But he never, what he said was become sinless and eliminate all karmic reaction and attain nirvana. So he brought the concept of nirvana, but he never spoke about what lies beyond nirvana, or he did not clearly explain what is nirvana is. So simply, he taught that nirvana means freedom from suffering in the material world. So, according to his philosophy, suffering is caused by 24 elements. What he said was, if we dismantle or disconnect from these 24 elements, we achieve nirvana. Here, he did not talk about what happens after nirvana. Even he did not give clear definition of nirvana. So in that sense, it is almost sounds like atheistic philosophy, right? Even atheist believes that material life exists because of combination of material elements, these 24 elements. And when those chemical reaction stops, the body dies. The only difference between the atheistic philosophy and Buddhist thought is that the modern science, it says that life ends when the material combination breaks down at the death. But Buddhist philosophy is almost same, but it's little bit different in the way that this combination is broken at the point of nirvana, not necessarily at death. So basically, if you are sinful, so your karma continues. So as long as karma continues, you will not attain nirvana, right? So once you become sinless, and that time the karma stops, and then you achieve nirvana. That time, these 24 elements will break down. That is the Buddhist philosophy. So this people were practicing this over century, okay, and it's around after 1,200 years, Sripad Shankaracharya appeared, and now his vision was to restore Vedic Dharma. It is so difficult for him because literally everyone turned into atheist, and now he has to preach Vedic knowledge, right? So it is so difficult for him because forget about giving the Vedic knowledge. It is first step was he has to give what is soul, because people were not believing in soul. So Buddhist has this saying Jagan Mithya, right? So Shankaracharya basically used that Jagan Mithya, but he also added that Brahman Satya, Jagan Mithya, Brahman Satya. So he said, that what is Mithya, this word is Mithya, that's all right, but we should also know what is Satya. So he said Brahman is the Satya. So but he did not dig too much into what is Satya. So he made this as Mahavakya, Aham Brahmasmi, right? So Aham Brahmasmi is not Mahavakya, according to us. It is just a corollary, right? So in essence, what is Aham Brahmasmi means is the essence of my being is the same infinite and eternal reality and underlying in all existence. Basically, when we die, I merge with the Brahman, then I'll also become Supreme Brahman, right? Um, in one sense, Prabhupada also says that we are also Brahman, that is true, but it is qualitatively we are Brahman, but not quantitatively. We are Brahman, but we are not Supreme Brahman. So the sole idea of Advaita philosophy was to convince people that matter is not everything. Okay, there is something beyond the matter, that is spirit. So he just introduced the concept of spirit, concept of soul, because till that time people did not, they did not accept there is a soul, because Buddha rejected the Veda, right? That was the first step towards the um, so, Vedic knowledge. So then after that, Ramanujacharya came, and he should start where Shankaracharya left off, right? Meaning what he did was he still used Advaita, but he said he proposed Vishishta Advaita. Okay, so Vishishta Advaita means um, if I want to, let me give a crude example. That suppose a king is coming to my house to take me to his place. Okay, that is the example. According to Buddhist, if you want to say this statement, a king is coming to my house, meaning only one person is coming to my house. And when he takes me along with him, I'll also become king, according to Shankaracharya, right? I'll also become king. But what Ramanujacharya said, when I say king is coming home, that means uh, what I'm not saying is, along with him, his queens are also coming, and also prajas are also coming, his servants are also coming, his associates are also coming. We are not saying, when we say king is coming, this is understood that everybody is coming. So that is the variegatedness, right? That is the variety. So that is the Vishishta Advaita. Vishishta Advaita means, yes, the Supreme Lord is there, is there, but there is also variety, meaning when king takes you back to his place, you become associate of him. You will not become king. Okay, that is what Vishishta Advaita. Now, Vishishta Advaita means Supreme Personality is there, but I will not become, I mean, he is a Supreme Brahman. Living entity is only Brahman. He cannot become Supreme Brahman. That's what Vishishta Advaita teaches. But issue was that people might still interpret the teachings and infer that there is a hidden Advaita Vada is there in this. That's why when Madhvacharya came, he removed that word. He said there is no Advaita, there is Dvaita. There are two things. What are those two things? God and the living entity are two distinct things. No, they are not one and the same. And also material nature is also very distinct. That's what he propagated. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and he gave Achintya Bheda Tattva. The real position of, he explained the real position of Krishna with respect to different energies. That is called Achintya Bheda Tattva. Achintya means beyond, inconceivable, beyond our intelligence. So if you ask how exactly it is, and it is very difficult to comprehend. So that's why it is called Achintya. Bheda means different, Abheda means no difference. So basically, he said simultaneously, one at the same time, they are different. Basically, Mahaprabhu combined Ramanujacharya Vishishtadvaita, meaning there are varieties, and Madhvacharya's Dvaita, there is oneness. Living entity depends on the God, and these two are two different entities, and eternally God and living entities are different. That's what he proposed. And actually, Prabhupada gives very nice example in this purport. Let me read it. Living entities are compared to the sparks of fire. As stated in the previous verse, fire, flame, smoke, and firewood are combined together. Here, the living entity, the material elements, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are combined together. The exact position of the living entities is just like that of the spark of a fire. They are part and parcel. Material energy is compared to the smoke. The fire is also part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So, in this example, the blazing fire is different from flame. And fire is different from the spark. And also in the same time, fire is different from smoke. They are all intimately connected, but they are different. They are born from the same source, wood. So blazing fire can be seen as, in this example, we can see as Supreme Lord, and spark as a living entity, and smoke as material energy. As smoke covers the fire, similarly, Maya covers the knowledge of a living entity from the Supreme Lord. But Srila Prabhupada says the less intelligent person thinks smoke to be fire, or spark is fire. But actually, it is true that without fire, smoke doesn't exist. But in the same time, smoke is not fire, right? And it's same goes with the spark and fire. Both are energies. So there are three truths in this example. That is Supreme Lord, which is flame, fire, and the living entity is the spark, and Maya. Maya is the smoke. So this is actually true understanding. One who sees these three things are differently is actually self-realized, right? So these are the few points I wanted to make here. That's all I had. So if you have anything, please you can comment or correct me if I'm wrong in something. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for giving a wonderful class. And mainly, I like the way you explained about differentiating the king example for differentiating different philosophies. That was very nice. Uh, as I always appreciate, without Srila Prabhupada's Bhaktivedanta purport, how we would be, right? His beautiful and very simple analogies. For my limited brain, I like the simple analogies which I can relate instead of, uh, giving a big subject just raw with these examples, and you really embellished it well, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. I mean, even I feel the same. Without those examples, it is very difficult to understand these philosophical.
Yes, true.
Right? Yeah, especially this Advaita, Vishishtadvaita, Dvaita. It's very hard to understand, right? So with this example, really, I was able to understand it properly.
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Anything else? Okay. We'll conclude here. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंतकोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज भागवतम की जय। हरे कृष्ण डिवोटीज।
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, very wonderful class. Thank you.